Greetings. How's everyone doing? Well, I am here once again to shed some light on all of the granny women in our past, our present, and the future. You understand? Because we're not gonna never get away from the fact that the woman was our first doctor. My mother was my first physician. My birth mother. I have so many mothers. Don't we have so many mothers? My birth mother, my mother that raised me, all of the women out there that taught me everything that I know, all of them are my mamas. Hello? And so today I want to talk about them, you know? I want to shed some light on their work, and I want you all to go on this trip with me. So let's trip. I want to talk about granny medicine. I want to talk about that. So let's go. Okay, because time is so limited. I'm going to talk about granny magic, granny medicine, like I said, and granny witchcraft. All of these different practices, as we know of, have been here since the beginning of womankind, of humanity. Witchcraft can find itself in the traditions of folk magic. It's a combination of religious texts, the Bible, roots of the plants, the leaves of the plants, the stem of the plants, faith, and superstition. Thank you, baby. That's our job. Household items. All of these things to treat the ailing, the body, the mind, spirit, and soul. A granny magician. That's the first magician. I was about to say musician, but hey, she could have been the first musician too. Hello? That's the first magician. Is a woman chosen by birth. Okay, when she was born, she was chosen for this job, or taught by an experienced elder over the local community. All of these skills and magic to take care of the imbalance of individuals in the local community. In some cases, these grannies may have made long walks to their clients that were out in remote type settings and villages. You understand? People that were isolated, just living in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And it may have occurred, those walks, late at night when it was so dangerous. Can you imagine walking late at night? Wasn't no cars or whatever, no access, but yet and still word came through that Miss Annabelle down there, down the street down there, way down there, near the swamps where the alligators at, was having her baby. Okay, so you had to Probably sometime wade in that water. Hello, where the moss was hanging down thick and you couldn't see from all of these different brushes or whatever. You understand? It may have been hanging down over your head, but you had to get there. You understand? There was no choice because she was having that baby. That baby wasn't gonna wait till the daytime. Babies usually like to come late at night in the dark, so you had to watch out for the alligators, like I said, the snakes, and the alligator snapping turtles. Hello. Because that granny was more than likely the only source of health care. Wasn't no ambulances gonna be able to ride through up in there. Couldn't get no paramedics up in there. Wasn't no hospital in most cases. Women had their babies at home. I was had at home. I was birthed on Etheridge Avenue in a shanty by Mary Bell. Me, myself, personally. For all of you all who don't know, I live in Alabama. I'm an Alabamian, born here, understand, in Selma, Alabama. So, in those days, you understand, that's the way it went down. And after I was birthed by Mary Bell, later on, Dr. Walker would ride on his bike to check on me and listen to my heart rate or what have you. My birth mama told me I had what she said I had, he detected in my heart what you call those things? A heart murmur. She said you had a heart murmur here at your heart murmur at birth, and he said it'd be okay. It'll grow, it'll seal up, and she'll be just fine, is what he said. And he was right. I talked to someone, you know who you are, and you might be over here watching you, and your cohorts said that Dr. Walker was, what you say, he was a very, very fair-skinned man. Looked like he was almost white. And he wore eyeglasses, and he rode a 10-speed bike. Okay, my biological father told me that. But you also said that he rode a 10-speed bike to check up on the babies and create our birth certificates and stuff. Because some of the older people didn't even have birth certificates. Auntie was born in Orville, Alabama, and didn't have a birth certificate. So it's not uncommon for a lot of older black people not to know how old they really were. They guessed at it because they didn't have a birth certificate. Okay? So these natives knew all about the plant life. Yes, they did. They knew exactly where to go and get it. Some of it were like down in the valley, close to the river. I found fennel at the lake there in Selma. The Dallas Lake. I found some fennel, and it smelled very, very good. Didn't quite know what to do with it, so I dried it and I put it up. Smelled so good, I almost thought it was dill. I did eat on it, and it tastes like dill, but somebody said no, that is fennel. They're closely related. They knew about the roots and the leaves and all of the indigenous plant life in their locality. These practices were all about survival. Okay, they didn't have no name. They didn't say this was no witchcraft and no root work and no hoodoo magic, no voodoo or nothing like that. They didn't say that. Ifa, Santeria, Palo Santo, or whatever. You understand? It just was the way they live. And if they didn't live like that, it wasn't going to be good because they would die. Okay? Some of these practices and stuff like that maybe, now we take for granted would be like dousing. You understand? Looking for water with a forked stick. Y'all ever seen people with them forked wooden sticks? They would have those, and they would be divining rods and stuff like that. They were supposed to show them where the water was. You had to have water. Wasn't no local sewer system. They would use copper in some cases to find a spot to dig a well. And you would have to go to some of these folks to find it. Yeah, the grannies did it too. You know, they always show a man with it. Like right now, we got a man showing it right now. Y'all see that? But anyways, women did it too. And it was all about looking for fit land. You understand? You might have to go to a granny woman that knew all about the land. She let you know if the land was fit or not. Okay? You may be somewhere, you know, so you know, on some land that ain't no count. You understand? That's how we talk down here, down south. But you want land that produce good crops, because we got to eat. Ain't no grocery stores. Do you know that? So, you know, desolate land that is cursed, because a lot of people would curse the land if you ran them off, bud. They'll say, ain't nothing good gonna happen on this land. You ain't gonna grow no food, no nothing. Like even today, they take land and build houses on it. Just take people land and put service stations on it. And you wonder why it is haunted. Okay. So these women had so much to do. They cared for pregnant women. They were birthing babies and tending to the needs of mom and tended to the needs of the baby, because the baby wasn't out of the woods, you know what I'm saying? Because it was a high infant mortality rate down south. So all the way from the Appalachians all the way down here to the south, I just say everybody. The first was a granny woman to have to see about us. I don't care where you were. You could be all the way out in Mexico and California and stuff like that. They had their granny wives too. In the Amazons, hello? They had their granny wives, because they were the first, like I said, the first physicians. But anyway, they kept these mothers well with not only the roots and the herbs and all of the type of medicines, but with superstition. By making charms. They would make the charms out of pennies. Out of pennies, yes. They would drill a hole in the penny, tie it up with a rope, and keep it around the baby's neck. As the baby grew older, they would keep it on the baby until they reach 12 months. So by the time the baby is 12 months old, that necklace would have to be lengthened for their growth. So it is said that if the penny stays on the baby for 12 months, that baby is going to make it. I never will forget, my little cousin India had one on her neck, and she swallowed it and managed to free herself from the rope that it was on. And she swallowed it. But she was okay, because they found it in her poop. The doctor had them to check her stool until they found the penny. And yes, they did find the penny. Okay? These granny women would make salves and poultices to grow your hair. I know one lady in particular, two ladies in particular, really my mother and Madam Butterfly. That's what her name was. Madam Butterfly was a granny woman, and she made some of the most good smelling hair greases you could ever imagine. And they would grow your hair all the way down your back. Yes, they would. Yes, when we got our hands on some of that, you know, you knew you was gonna like that, and it would straighten your hair with that hot straightening comb to be so slick and so pretty. Mama would make her own hair grease with Vaseline, petroleum jelly, and Persula. And then if you had the dandruff and the itch, she'd put a little bit of sulfur inside of that. Okay. They can heal wounds with this salve. They can stop itch. You had the jock itch, or you had old fungus somewhere that kept on itching you. They could stop that. They took good care of acne. You didn't see nobody walking around with bumps all over their faces and stuff back in them days. And moles everywhere. Because they would make a nice poultice that would get rid of all of that. It would help you with bad skin. And some of them with their superstition, and their claims of having supernatural powers could make one beautiful with their different potions and salves and poultices and teas. They had teas that rid one of sicknesses such as colds, flus, TBs, and TBs was real bad in them days. TBs would kill you. They even had an asylum for people who had the TBs, waiting on them to die. You understand? Them communicable diseases back in the days that they claimed they had no cure for. These granny women had it. The whooping cough. That was another. Auntie told me she saw an old man when she was a little girl say he coughed and coughed and coughed until he fell off the porch. That cough was so bad. Okay, Auntie also, told me about one tea. She said that they made from cow dung. You understand? From cow shit. You dry the cow shit, she said. And once you dry it, you'd make a tea out of it. They dry it in the sun, and then they'll make a tea out of it if you had a real, real bad cough, and add a little bit of turpentine to it and sugar. And they would drink that. Auntie said the next day it would break fevers, and they would cough all kind of yellow coal up. They were the quilters in the community. Created beautiful webs of fabric that healed and loved on us. Yes, they did. Which brings me to one of my stories in G's Bend. You understand? G's Bend is a very famous place for making quilts. And they taught us in G's Bend to always make the little girls to make our first quilt. Auntie said she made her first quilt when she was in the 3rd grade. Yes, she did. So that's a tradition down there, because y'all know also I'm from G's Bend, which is right there in Selma. All of that is connected. So, I got to brag a little bit about being a part of that community. Hello. So I didn't make my first quilt until I was an adult because I was raised in Birmingham. Y'all know about my story. I'm an adoptee. So I had my urge to make my first quilt. I was 30 years old, and I've been quilting since. Matter of fact, I made my grandbaby a quilt, and I put all the love I could in each little square, and I talked to the quilt and to take care of my baby, to keep my baby safe, to keep my baby well, and let him grow up to be a productive citizen. And I got a story I got to share about my grandbaby, but because I can't make this too long. But I need to say that, quilt making is all over the world, so it is not exclusive to G's Bend. I only brought it up is because that part of Alabama is very famous for that. Because I noticed that if I do say something about what's going on in my life and I don't say what's going on in everybody else's life, people get upset with me and they get angry with me. They don't want me. Everybody wants to feel included, okay? Okay, Granny Magic can be found all over the world, I must say. Not just here in the South. Yeah, I believe it started in Africa. I have to be careful, y'all know, because Mama got flagged the beginning of November on one of her channels. You know what I'm saying? So Mama want to keep it nice, clean, and peaceful for this. Y'all know my Mother Wilson channel got flagged, got a strike on it the beginning of November. So we got to make sure everybody is happy over here. Nobody can't leave nobody out. Man, some of the stuff these women would have seen because there wasn't no doctor nowhere, or she had to do it until the doctor got there. Ooh, they work hard, y'all. In the grueling South, man, conditions was real bad down here, y'all. It was bad. Like all this greenery you see now, grass and trees, it wasn't like that growing up, because I've talked to a lot of old locals, and they told me that it was really, really bad down here, down south. Said it was sometimes nothing but rocks. So you move on a piece of land, ain't nothing but rocks. Wasn't no trees. These trees just not came. Wasn't never open field. Never dry dirt, dry rocks. That's why they had to bring the rain project in. Y'all know what that is. Mama can't talk about what that is. Mama might get flagged. Hello? Hello? They had to make weather. That's why it's so luscious and beautiful right now. I can kind of remember it as a child, going to the country, how the natural landscape used to look back then. It was, like I said, it was just nothing but dirt. When we go to the country, it'd be dirt. I never will forget, y'all. I can't do no story time telling. I like to talk about the little story time telling of what I seen. But maybe on another video. But they had to see all types of injuries and sicknesses that would be probably unimaginable to us. People coming in with cuts that were bleeding profusely. They were able to save them. Yes, they were. Because they had the herbs, the roots that could calm bleeding. You understand? Ease pain so that they can suture the wound, and they had roots to keep it from getting infected. So they were able to see by some really terrible looking lacerations. So they would use the leaves, the stems, the roots, whatever was available that they were taught to use to help these people battle these terrible injuries. If bones were broken, these grandmothers would have to set them, or the men would have to come in some cases, because I can imagine it took some strength to set some of these broken bones, whereas now they numb us up, put us to sleep, and put our bones together and stuff. Over in those days, you would be there to feel that pain. They might give you plenty of vodka and numb you up with that, and I'm sure they had some herbs or something to kind of help these people. And in some cases, when bones could not be set back, they just went ahead on and had to amputate these limbs. Limbs had to be amputated. Couldn't imagine that pain. Amputating legs, giving you a wooden peg leg. Woo! That's what I said. I wouldn't be able to handle, y'all. Treating fevers, especially those fevers that was hard to break. May not have had no aspirin, no Tylenol, or no Advil at their disposal to calm these fevers. Because sometimes fevers can get so high until the individual's life is threatened with seizures, or in some cases, it may just be death. They had to save women that were in labor, babies stuck in there, can't even come out. Oh my God, coming foot first. They got them babies out, them women. They would get a young man in the local community, or even a woman, to sit on that woman's stomach and bounce on it till that baby popped out. That baby come shooting out. So wasn't no such thing as the baby couldn't come out. In some cases, they may have had to just go on, cut it, and do a C-section. Could y'all imagine that? Ooh-wee. Women that might have been bleeding to death because they couldn't get the afterbirth out, but they managed to go up in there and get that afterbirth out. Yes, they did. Breathing life into an infant that could not breathe. They was able to breathe life into that child and save it. Y'all, when you think about it, this ain't nothing but good old Southern hoodoo magic. Grandmothers, we sure enough appreciate you and everything that you have done. You continue to live in our families, friends, and communities. We have all had a granny once upon a time in our life, haven't we? I know I had a granny. I'm gonna tell you something. I hear them talk about the young women being a granny woman and all of that, but I'm gonna tell you something. Them granny women, cause I said I was gonna teach my grandbaby to call me granny, but it take more than you can imagine to fill the shoes of a granny woman. To me, a granny woman is a very old woman. These women that look like they could be in their late 60s and 70s. These are the crones. Hello? These are the crones. These are the women who have just really seen decades. They have a lot of experience behind their belt. These, to me, would be the grannies. My take on it, I don't think you can actually be a granny until you you done had a great grandchild. Them is the grannies. Like my grandbaby has 2 grandmamas. It has lost its great grandma, both its great grandmas. That would be my mama and my son-in-law's mama. But my son-in-law still got his great-grandmama, which that would be my grandbaby's great-great-grandma. She's still here. That is a granny to me. She is the granny woman. Yes, she is. She's the granny woman. Anyway, so we can't just all call ourselves, just call, that's a title, you know what I'm saying? You got to really earn. And we can't run around here and be around here 20 years old talking about I'm a granny woman. No, you're not. 30 years old, I'm a granny woman. No, you're not. I'm 40, I'm a granny woman. No, you're not. I'm 50, I'm a granny woman. No, you're not. Hey, you got to go on up in yonder to be your granny woman. Now, that's just my take on it. My granny was like in her late 70s. Auntie would be considered a granny woman. Because granny mean granny. You know what I'm saying? Grand. You are a grand. Okay. It has been really nice tripping over here. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Because I got to go. I'm out. Y'all, we on our way back to this life, ain't we? This old living is coming back as Babylon falls.